RMJ Movie Reviews back again with another happy Halloween horror movie review. I'm sorry, guys. I'm eventually gonna get my new set together for the movie reviews, but in the meantime, I love movies so much, I'll just kind of wing my reviews like this. I'm sorry, but I'll try to change it as soon as I can. Okay, anyway, today I'm going to review Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Beginning, the sequel to the 2003 reimagining, remake, whatever you want to call it. Look, I just recently moved, guys, so my movie collection that you always see behind me, I did not make the move yet, so I had to kind of redo the plans of my original reviews. I was originally going to go more obscure, like I said, but unfortunately, I don't have my collection with me, and I kind of just got to make do what's on Hulu and Netflix, so it kind of ended up being this way. So I apologize. I wanted to do kind of more diverse movies, but this is what we're stuck with. So anyway, I grew up with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. Like, I digress, as always. As a matter of fact, the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie I saw was the first one, which I believe was around the time when the second film had just come on video, which means I was very young because I'm only 36. But anyway, I bugged out from the first one because it was crazy. I saw it on regular TV back when they still used to air these movies on regular TV. Yes, and they aired the original on Halloween Horror Week, Channel 43, 8 o'clock movie, WUAB, back in Cleveland. And like I said before, my father let me and my cousins rent the second one when it came on video in the mid-late 80s, somewhere in there. And then I saw 3 when it came on video way around, 1991 or whatever that was. But anyway, I liked the reimagining, the 2003 movie. I like the original movie, the very first movie, but I don't hold it as close to my heart as something like Halloween or Nightmare on Elm Street 1. But I still think it's a very visceral, nutty movie. And I thought the 2003 remake was a good companion piece to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre universe. You know, it was very wacky and it was sick. It was standard and hit all the fake jump scares cliches, but I felt that it was mean enough and wacky enough and intense enough that it was a good companion piece to the series. Now onto this film. I was working at a movie theater in college and we had this when it came out. I did not like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning. I haven't come back. This has been the first time I've seen it in quite a while. But again, I still feel the same way about it. I mean, there's things in it that I do like, but there's more things that I don't like than I do like in it. Overall, I'd lean more towards it's barely okay for me, personally. But, I still like the 2003 version better. So I'm going to just list all the things that I like about Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning. All the stuff with R. Lee Ermey, where R. Lee Ermey is mentally and physically torturing the male protagonist, that's all just great stuff. It's great to watch R. Lee Ermey, because basically he's playing his character from Full Metal Jacket. The one-liners aren't as good, but to see him just go berserk and torture these young men is sadistically, it's great. It's great stuff. And I kind of feel towards the end of the movie, he kind of more R. Lee Ermey, because he's kind of like the replacement for Jim, I think Cito is how you pronounce his name, from the first 2 films. And he kind of more, it seems as this movie goes along, he kind of more assumes, by the end of this movie, he's full on Jim Cito. I mean, he assumes the cook's persona, and R. Lee Ermey was the perfect replacement for that character, and that was brilliant in the 2003 remake. And all the stuff with Leatherface, where Leatherface is torturing the protagonist, that's all good too. I'm not so much crazy. I'll get onto that. But all the stuff where Leatherface is torturing the protagonist and he cuts the biker guy in half, that's all just great stuff. Again, those two guys are what drive this sequel to the reboot, and they're very in tone with all the films previous to these movies. That's all great. And I like that they kept that kind of muddy, kind of sepia tone look of the original. Although I like the way the reboot 03 is shot more than I do this film. But anyway, that's all great. Now, and the other thing I want to say is I like that they put the dinner scene in. The dinner scene should have been in the reboot. I can't remember. Michael Bay gave a reason for why they didn't put it in. I just think they didn't feel they could top the dinner scenes for 1 and 2, so that's why they left it out. And this dinner scene doesn't at all top anything for 1 or 2, but I still think that it's ghoulish enough and it's sadistic enough to very much match the tone and ferocity of the dinner scene from the first 2 pictures. Good stuff. And the variety of kills here are pretty good. You know, Leatherface hooking the girl out the truck was just like, whoa. It's pretty mean. You know, again, Arlie Ermy with the beating the guy with the nightstick and making him do the push-ups. That's great stuff. And the oh god, the face peeling scene in this, it was pretty close to the face-peeling scene from Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, which I've been thinking about. That scene just still makes me gag from that movie. This comes pretty close. And so all that stuff is creepy, and like when he finally dons the new mask, and Arlie Ermey's like, "I like your new face," and he kind of, it looks really creepy and unsettling. Great. So now on to the bad. All that sadistic stuff I just told you, that's good. There's so much more generic stuff in this movie. Like all the fake John Carpenter-esque scares, which is like stuff they did in Halloween Curse of Michael Myers. Like digressing, like Beth being grabbed on the porch by the boyfriend. I mean, just like a character steps in the frame, takes a leak, loud musical stuff. It's so generic. I just hated it. And it's like, there's scenes that it looks like all the daylight scenes. It looks like they're trying to make it look like it's Vietnam era, but it clearly doesn't really feel like it because the actors look so WB-ish. That stuff is just all generic. Stuff with Leatherface's mom having the baby, generic. The stuff where Arlie Ermy kills Lou Temple, generic. Just everything outside of Arlie Ermy and Leatherface torturing the main protagonist and that dinner scene, and it's all generic and it's corny and it just feels like a really bad TV movie to me. It does, and there's a lot of that thing they do. You see it in a lot of Sci-Fi Channel movies with the and the camera does like that all the time. And I hate that. I don't like it, but everybody does it now. There's just a lot of generic stuff in this movie. And I think really what they should have been, this shouldn't have been a prequel. I think this should have been a straight out continuation from 03 because Arlie Ermy everybody looks older. You know, so I think if they would have just like brought Arlie Ermy back with I don't know. I know he got ran over by the car in the first one, but there's ways to explain it. Maybe he could have had a leg brace or something. He could have been like, "I survived that car running me over," or something, whatever. But just the fact that it's before the 03 version, and again, I think another YouTuber mentioned this, how they're explaining things that nobody cares about why Uncle Monty doesn't have any legs. I don't care why Arlie Ermy has no teeth. I don't even care why Leatherface was born. I think it was a mistake to have Arlie Ermy not be the real sheriff and to him have murdered the real sheriff. I think that was a mistake. It's just generic stuff here, man. And that's my biggest problem, is that outside of Leatherface and Arlie Ermy torturing everybody, it's just generic. It's just really, really generic. It's really the only thing I liked about it, you know? But I will say, as the movie gets closer towards the end, it kind of kind of gets more unrelenting as it goes on, but still, does that other stuff. It just feels. It was nice to see Beecher from Oz pop up in here as a biker. I wish he would have had more to do, but it's more gory, and there's really some cool things. I like a lot of the shots. I think the one where Leatherface kills the blonde kid in the slaughterhouse. Of course, this ends in the slaughterhouse again, like the reimagining, the '03 movie. But I like when it's like Jordana Brewster runs out and he like turns and you see like the skin kind of wiggle on the mask. It's a really creepy, dark shot. I love that scene. And I will say I love the trailer for this movie because the trailer is just really freaky and uncomfortable. And the music kind of goes doom, 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 doom. And you can kind of hear like these little hums in the background like, oh, and you just hear the saw going, eh. Really creepy. But unfortunately, the way that trailer feels, it only feels like that towards the end of the movie, and the whole first part of the movie to me just feels generic. So I think if they would have took this dinner scene, the face skinning scene, Arlie Ermy, the nightstick scene, I think if they would have put some of that in the '03 movie, I think the '03 movie would have shot through the roof and been a whole lot better. But and this is another case of sometimes less is more. Now by showing more of the obese woman and having more of the family members on screen, it really just took away from it. And although when I first saw the '03 movie, I was kind of a little bit disappointed because it wasn't very clear about whether they were cannibals or not, and what family member was connected to who. I think for me, it still kind of helped in wondering like who these people are, like you feel like the characters are. But this movie just kind of over-explains things that you just didn't want to know. So overall, I like some of the intensity, some of the more sadistic kills and gore from Arlie Ermy and Leatherface. But I still, for me, I still think this is a thumbs down. I like the '03 version better. And Jordana Brewster, she's hot, she's great. I think Jessica Biel kind of slightly inches her out, And it doesn't help that they got all the protagonists to look exactly like the protagonists from the other movie. So I'm sorry, guys. Me personally, I pass on Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning. But that's my review of it. Thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video. Don't forget to hit the little bell and leave comments down below about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning. RMJ Movie Reviews. I'll see you soon.